December 5th, 2016. A day that should have been like any other for airline flight engineer Walter Wyatt Jr., but it would soon turn into a battle for his life. Alone in his twin-engine Beechcraft, Walter had just departed Nassau, heading for Miami, a 65-minute flight over the open ocean. But fate had other plans. The plane, robbed of its navigational equipment by thieves in Nassau, leaves Walter to fly blind. With only a compass and a handheld radio, he is forced to rely on instinct as dark clouds gather and the storm rolls in. His pulse quickens as he peers through the rain-streaked windows, searching for any sign of land. Suddenly, the compass needle spins wildly. Wyatt grips the controls tighter. Panic is creeping in. Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Walter Wyatt Jr. I'm flying blind. Can anyone hear me? He's lost. Somewhere over the Caribbean, the skies are closing in, and the radio crackles to life. An Air Jamaica jet picks up his signal and relays it to the Coast Guard. But the storm has already swallowed him whole. The minutes drag by. Wyatt's heart pounds in his chest as the storm worsens. His right engine sputters, then stalls. I'm going in. I'm going down. Lieutenant Stephen Blankenship and his crew, flying nearby, scramble to help. They can see the small aircraft descending toward the unforgiving sea. They race against time, giving Wyatt directions to an emergency landing strip, but his fuel tanks are running dry. The second engine dies. There's nothing left to do. I'm going in. This is it. Cut to. The Beechcraft hits the water, vanishing beneath the surface in an instant. The Falcon jet flies overhead, but all they see are white-capped waves and endless darkness. The Falcon crew circles the area, but there's no sign of life. To them, it's over. Walter Wyatt is gone. But in the freezing waters below, Wyatt is far from finished. Wyatt smashes his head on the control panel in the crash, blood oozing from his forehead. The salt water burns his eyes as he scrambles onto the sinking wing of his plane. His life vest inflates. Barely. His survival training kicks in, telling him to conserve energy. But the cold water and relentless waves sap his strength with every passing second. The storm rages on, and the sea swells around him, 5 feet high and unforgiving. He's invisible to the search planes above, lost in a nightmare of churning water. Please God, not like this. He has no direction, no land in sight. His only hope is Khe Sal, an island he can't even see. With nothing but his sheer will and a leaky life vest, he begins to swim. The squalls churn the sea, disorienting him, breaking his spirit. His life vest begins to fail. First, one chamber loses air, then the other. With every second, the sea strips away his energy, his warmth, and his hope. The cold water gnaws at his limbs, turning his muscles to stone. He's bleeding from his head, sending a deadly scent into the water, and he knows. He knows what that means. The sharks are coming. They've found him. A pack of sharks, drawn by his blood, begins to close in. Wyatt kicks out wildly, his heart pounding with primal fear. Shark fins cut through the waves, circling. But Wyatt knows giving in means certain death. He kicks harder, fending them off as best he can. The storm rages, and with every passing hour, the battle becomes more brutal. God, if this is my time, forgive me. Take me swiftly, Lord. But then, something inside him shifts. No, not like this. Wyatt refuses to surrender. Not to the cold, not to the sharks, not to death. With trembling hands, he takes out his airline badge and scratches a final message for his loved ones. 143 MDWT, I love you, to his parents, his children, and his girlfriend. He secures it to his vest, but this isn't the end. The battle is on. Shark after shark closes in, but Wyatt refuses to let them take him. He fights them off, foot by foot, blow by blow. I'm not ready to die yet. Hours pass. The stars above swirl as his mind begins to fade. His life vest, now nearly useless, slips from his grasp. He's exhausted, his limbs feel like lead, and his vision begins to blur. But just when all seems lost, dawn breaks. As the light of dawn creeps over the horizon, so does a flicker of hope. A plane, a Coast Guard jet, flying low, searching for him. Wyatt waves weakly, his body barely above the waves. His voice is hoarse as he cries out, "Please, see me. There's a man in the water." But time is running out. Beneath the surface, the sharks are circling again. Wyatt's strength is nearly gone. A Coast Guard cutter races toward him, but the sharks close in faster. With one final desperate kick, Wyatt fends off the shark just as the cutter arrives. A Jacob's ladder drops into the water, but Wyatt can barely hold on. "Let go of the vest, man! We've got you!" "No way, it goes where I go." The crew pulls him aboard. Wyatt collapses onto the deck, shaking and trembling. He kisses the ground beneath him. It was 9 a.m. He had been fighting the sea, the sharks, and his own failing body for over 15 hours. But he had won. Against all odds, Walter Wyatt had survived. Later that day, Wyatt would reunite with his family, overwhelmed with the miracle of his survival. His life vest, still by his side, had become a symbol of his endurance, of the will to fight even when all hope seemed lost. "I can't believe I'm alive." Walter Wyatt's story is one of unthinkable odds, of a man who refused to die. A plane crash, a shark-infested sea, 15 hours in the water, and yet by the grace of God and the sheer force of his will, he survived to tell his tale. In today's increasingly urbanized and technology-driven world, the art of bushcraft and survival skills may seem like a relic from a bygone era. However, these skills are not only relevant, but also incredibly beneficial for our children. As parents, we need to be empowering our kids with hands-on, real-life experiences where they can forge an authentic connection with their environment and become familiar with their inner landscape as they overcome challenges. Introducing children to bushcraft and survival skills is a wonderful opportunity to put these qualities into practice as they face what could be the most risky scenario, getting lost in the wild or finding themselves in a survival situation. Of course, we never want this to happen, but if it does, we'd love to think that kids will have a few tricks up their sleeves to give themselves a fighting chance. We need to provide children with the opportunity to do things that, in times gone by, were essential life skills. Unfortunately, many of these skills have now slipped out of focus to be replaced by flashy technology and modern conveniences. These include using flint and steel to start a fire, cooking over a campfire, using whittling knives, building shelters, building rafts, tying knots, and learning to be resourceful in the great outdoors. There are numerous advantages of teaching your kids bushcraft and survival skills. From self-reliance to problem-solving abilities, these valuable skills can have a lasting impact on your child's development. Thank you for watching our new channel, True Survivors, Miracle SOS. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for regular child survival videos. Please like and share our content, and always remember, be ready, be vigilant, be resilient, and be a true survivor.